If I had gone downstairs 10 seconds earlier, I would be dead. If I had unlocked the front door 1 second longer, I would be dead. If my brother had arrived when he said he would be dead too. People ask me what the scariest sound I have ever heard was. They expect me to say the axe smashing through my bedroom door, or the scream of the man I stabbed in the kitchen, or the police dogs tearing into flesh outside in the dark. But they are wrong. The scariest sound I have ever heard was my brother's voice calling from downstairs. Hello, because he wasn't there. It was a Thursday afternoon. Cold outside. Gray sky. The kind of weather that makes the whole world feel sleepy. I was upstairs in my home office, working on invoices and emails. My desk faced the window. Rainwater was sliding down the glass in thin lines. Every few minutes, wind shook the branches of the tree outside. I lived alone in a 2-story house at the edge of town. It was peaceful most days. Too peaceful, maybe. The kind of neighborhood where you notice every strange sound because there are so few of them. My older brother, Daniel, lived 4 hours away. We were close, but we didn't see each other often. That mattered later. At the time, it meant nothing. I was typing when I heard the front door open downstairs. Then I heard it. Bright. Loud. Familiar. Hello. That was Daniel. No one else said hello like that. He always stretched the word and made it sound like he was entering a theater stage. I smiled instantly. Daniel, I shouted. No answer. I laughed to myself and called louder. Give me a second. I'm just saving my work. Then I heard nothing. No footsteps. No movement. No coat being hung up. No kitchen cupboard opening. Nothing. Still, I wasn't worried. I assumed he was wandering around downstairs, probably looking for snacks like he always did. I clicked save, closed my laptop, and headed for the stairs. The hallway downstairs was empty. Front room empty. Dining room empty. Kitchen empty. No brother. I checked the guest bathroom. Empty. I looked through the front window. No car. No Daniel. No one. I opened the front door and stepped onto the porch. Rain mist touched my face. The street was quiet. No engine sound fading away. No footprints on the wet path except mine from earlier that morning. I stood there with a strange pressure growing in my chest. I had heard him. Clearly. Not maybe. Not almost. I had heard him exactly as if he stood 10 feet below me. Hello. I called his mobile. No answer. I sent a message. Are you here? No reply. I told myself he had stopped by, found the door open, called out, then run back to his car for something. Except there was no car. Then I told myself I imagined it. Except I knew his voice better than my own. Then I told myself maybe it came from outside. Except it came from inside the house. I locked the front door, then the back door, then checked every window, then checked them again. I remember feeling embarrassed, like I was overreacting. I almost laughed at myself. Then I went upstairs. I reached the top of the stairs and saw movement inside my office. A shadow crossed the wall. Then another. Then another. 3 men. My blood turned cold, so quickly it felt like ice in my veins. They were inside my office. How? I had just been there. I backed away silently. Then a floorboard creaked under me. All 3 heads turned. One of them said quietly, "She's here." I ran. I flew down the stairs so fast I nearly fell. Behind me, pounding footsteps. Heavy. Fast. Deliberate. Not panicked. They knew I had nowhere to go. I reached the front door first. My fingers hit the lock. But locks feel different when terror is inside you. Slow. Impossible. My hands shook. The metal slipped. Behind me, footsteps reached the hallway. No time. I abandoned the door and sprinted into the kitchen. My kitchen was narrow but familiar. I knew every drawer, every cabinet, every blind spot. I yanked open the utensil drawer and grabbed the largest knife I owned. 8-inch chef's knife. My breath came in short gasps. I heard them outside the kitchen entrance, whispering. One voice said, "Check each room." Another said, "She's scared. She'll make noise." I slid behind the kitchen door, pressing myself flat against the wall. The knife handle was slick in my sweating hand. The first man entered slowly. Tall. Dark jacket. He looked toward the pantry, toward the sink, toward under the table, not behind the door. He stepped closer. I moved before I could think. I drove the knife sideways into his neck. The sensation shocked me. Resistance. Then sudden give. Warm blood burst across my hand and the floor. He made a terrible choking sound and grabbed at me. I yanked the knife free and shoved him away. He collapsed against the fridge, sliding down, smearing red. Outside, the others shouted. I ran out before they entered. The hallway switch was on the left wall. My house. My advantage. I slapped the lights off. Instant darkness swallowed the downstairs. They cursed immediately. Where's the switch? I stayed low and silent. One man stumbled into the kitchen, likely thinking I was still there. The second stepped into the hallway, hands out. I moved behind him. The knife entered his stomach with a dull, horrible sound. He screamed and folded. The third man found the switch at that exact moment. Light flooded the hall. He saw me, saw his friend bleeding at my feet, and he smiled. He was holding an axe. Not a huge woodcutter's axe. A compact, one-handed axe with a rubber grip. Fresh scratches on the metal. He rushed me. I ran upstairs again. He followed, slower than me but relentless. His boots hit each step like hammer blows. I reached my bedroom, slammed the door, locked it, shoved the dresser halfway in front of it. Then I dialed emergency services. My voice barely worked. There are men in my house. One has an axe. Please hurry, please hurry. Below me, silence. Then slow footsteps climbing. Then the first hit on the bedroom door. The whole frame shook. Bang, bang, bang. Wood cracked. He was not rushing. He was enjoying it. The operator kept talking. I barely heard her. I dragged the curtains aside, threw the window open and looked down. The drop to the lower roof was possible. From there, I could reach the garage awning. From there, the ground. Another hit. The door split near the lock. I climbed out. Rain hit my face. Cold air steadied me. Another crash inside. The dresser scraped. He was nearly through. I lowered myself onto the roof ledge and slid. Towel scraped my palms. I nearly fell twice. Then I dropped to the awning, then to the wet grass below. Pain shot through my ankle. I ran anyway. I looked back just once. My bedroom door burst inward. He entered with the axe raised. Then paused. The room was empty. Even from outside, I could feel his rage. He smashed something. Then another thing. Then I heard sirens. Real, beautiful sirens. He vanished from the window. Running. Police cars screamed onto the street. Blue lights flashed across rain and brick. Officers spread around the property. I shouted from beside the hedge. He went out the back. Then came the dogs. 2 of them, leashed for only a second before release. They tore through the garden like missiles. A shout rose from beyond the fence. Then another. Then screaming. Animal, desperate screaming. By the time police dragged him into view, both dogs were latched onto him, one arm, one thigh. The axe was gone. His face was bleeding. And still, he was smiling. Inside, paramedics worked on the 2 injured men. One died in the kitchen. The other lived long enough to be arrested. Police asked me question after question. Did I know them? No. Had anyone threatened me? No. Was the front door unlocked earlier? Yes. Had I heard anything before seeing them? Yes. My brother's voice. They exchanged looks. I repeated it. Exactly. HELLLOOOO. One detective asked quietly. Could one of them have imitated him? I said no. No chance. That was Daniel. Or something wearing his voice. Then the house phone rang. The old landline mounted in the hall. Everyone froze for a moment. One officer answered, then handed it to me. It's for you. My hand trembled as I took it. Hello. HELLLOOOO. Daniel said cheerfully. I'm about 10 minutes away. Just making sure you're home. My knees nearly gave out. I couldn't speak. Claire. You there? I whispered. Turn around. What? Turn around and go to the police station right now. Later, police searched the captured men's van. Inside were zip ties, tape, a voice recorder, printed schedules of my movements, photos of my house, photos of me through windows, and a note with one line, get her downstairs first. The detective believed they had watched my brother's social media videos, heard his greeting, and used it to lure me down. But that explanation never fully satisfied me, because the voice I heard wasn't from outside the office. It came from the base of the stairs, inside the house, as if someone stood there, waiting. Months later, I sold the house. I could not sleep there again. Could not walk into the kitchen without smelling blood. Could not hear wood creak without seeing the axe rise. But there is one reason I never told anyone. One detail I kept to myself. When I was climbing out of the bedroom window, just before the door broke, I looked at the mirror on my dresser, and behind me, reflected in the room, stood a fourth man, watching the door, watching the intruder, watching me. He wore Daniel's coat, and when he saw me notice him, he smiled and said, "Hello."
If you ever hear 3 knocks at your door after midnight, do not answer, even if the voice outside belongs to someone you love, even if it cries, even if it begs, especially then, because some doors are not meant to open, and some grief is hungry enough to wear a familiar face. I know this because I opened one, and I made 3 wishes. My name is Samuel Benson. I used to believe in effort, hard work, savings, prayer, the slow and honest road. I believed a man earned what came to him. Then I met the monkey's paw, and now I believe something else. I believe fate is a river. You can step into it. You can scream against it. You could try to dam it with your bare hands. But if you force it to change course, it floods your house. It started on a wet November night. The wind was loud against the windows, and rain beat the glass like fingers trying to come in. My wife, Denise, was knitting in the armchair. Our daughter, Maria, was laughing over something on her phone. Maria was 23. Smart, bright, too alive for the world to deserve. She worked at a wooden factory outside town. Long shifts, dangerous machines, loud men, louder saws. I hated the place. She called it temporary. Everything young people hate becomes temporary until life traps them inside it. We were behind on the mortgage. 3 months. I had been laid off from the bus depot. Denise cleaned houses part-time. Maria paid more than she should have. That night, Sergeant Major Morrison came to visit. Morrison was a big man with scars across both hands and a way of looking at rooms as if they might explode. He had served overseas for years. Iran, Iraq, Afghanistan, he named places the way old sailors named storms. He arrived soaked from the rain and carrying a bottle. "Sam," he shouted, hugging me so hard my back cracked. "Denise, you still too elegant for this treat." "Maria," he said, smiling. "You look like trouble." Maria grinned. "Only expensive trouble." We laughed. For 1 hour, we were a family without fear. Then the subject turned strange. Morrison had too much whiskey and started telling stories. Stories of deserts, of ruins buried under sand, of old men who knew names for things modern people no longer believed in. Then he reached into his coat pocket. He placed something on the table. At first, I thought it was a root. Then I saw the fingers. Curled, shriveled, hairless, tiny black nails. A mummified monkey's paw. Denise recoiled instantly. Maria leaned forward. "What is that?" Morrison's face changed. No smile, no drinker's warmth, just memory. "A curse," he said. He told us he bought it from a market near an old shrine. But the seller had not owned it. No one owned it. It had belonged to a Sufi dervish, a holy man, who wanted to teach one lesson. That fate governs all lives. That those who try to bend destiny invite sorrow. The dervish placed a spell on the paw. 3 separate men could each make 3 wishes. But every wish would come true crooked. As punishment. As proof. Maria laughed nervously. "You don't believe that." Morrison looked at her for a long time. "I believe because I used one." The room chilled. Denise whispered, "What did you wish for?" Morrison stared at the fire. Enough. He suddenly grabbed the paw and tossed it into the fireplace. The flames caught around it. I reached in with the tongs and pulled it back. "Sam," Morrison shouted, "leave it. Why throw away something valuable?" "Because it works." He stood so fast his chair fell. "When it gives, it takes. Throw it back." But debt is louder than warning. I held the paw in my hand. It felt warm, like living skin. After Morrison left, Maria picked it up. "It's fake." She waved it like a toy. Denise said, "Put that thing down." I should have listened to her. Instead, I asked the question that destroys men. "What if?" Maria smiled. "Wish the mortgage gone." Denise rolled her eyes. "You too are children. I said it jokingly, half laughing, holding the paw high like a game. I wished for 500 pounds. Nothing happened. Then, the paw moved. It twisted in my palm, like a spider dying. I screamed and dropped it. Maria burst into laughter. "Dad, you actor." But Denise did not laugh. Neither did I. Nothing happened that night. Nothing the next morning. I felt foolish. I almost told myself nerves made the paw move. By noon, Maria had gone to work. By 2, I forgot about the whole thing. By 3, there was a knock. 2 men stood outside in company jackets. Their faces were wrong. Not cruel. Not cold. Worse. Practiced sympathy. I knew before they spoke. Every parent knows. There's been an accident at the factory. I don't remember falling. I don't remember Denise screaming. I remember only fragments. A waiting room. A clipboard. A manager who would not meet my eyes. Words like machinery failure. Instant. No suffering. As if these phrases are medicine. Then another phrase. Compensation. No liability admitted. 500 pounds. The exact amount I had wished for. I vomited in their lobby. We buried Maria under gray sky. The coffin was closed. I signed papers with hands that shook so badly my name looked false. People brought food. Flowers. Scripture. Silence. After everyone left, Denise sat at Maria's bedroom door all night. She did not enter. She just listened to the emptiness inside. I locked the monkey's paw in a kitchen drawer, but I could hear it sometimes. Soft scratching, wood from within. Days became shapeless. Denise stopped eating, stopped sleeping, started speaking to Maria as if she were upstairs. "Baby, tea is ready. Maria, answer your mother." Then one night, she stood over my bed, eyes swollen, face hard. "Use it. No. Use it. No. You brought death into this house. Bring my daughter back." I sat up. "We don't know that thing did anything." She slapped me. Hard. Then whispered, "If there's one chance, and you refuse." I cried then, for the first time since the funeral. At 11:47 p.m., I took the paw from the drawer. The fingers felt soft now, supple, as if thawing. Denise knelt beside me. "Say it." My mouth tasted like metal. I wished for Maria to come back to life. The paw clenched violently, then fell still. Nothing else. No thunder. No lights flickering. Just the clock ticking. We waited 1 hour. Then 2. At 2:14 a.m., Denise began sobbing. I almost felt relief. Then came a knock. 3 slow knocks at the front door. Not loud. Heavy. Wood against wood. Denise froze, then smiled through tears. "She's here." "No. She's cold. Open." I grab her wrist. Listen. There were pauses between knocks. Long pauses. As if whatever stood outside had to gather strength between movements. Then, knock. Drag. Knock. Drag. Something scraped across the porch. The cemetery was 2 miles away. I thought of wet soil. Fresh earth. A closed coffin. Broken wood from inside. No. 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 Denise tore free and ran for the hall. "Maria, Mommy's here." I chased her. The knocking became frantic. Bang. 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 The whole door shook. Then a sound from outside. Not words. Wet breathing. I made the mistake of looking through the peephole. At first I saw darkness. Then something moved upward into view. One eye. Clouded. Sunken. The skin around it torn. Mouth hanging too low on one side. Mud in the hair. And beneath the face, sawdust stuck to rotten flesh. I fell backward screaming. Denise screamed too, but in joy. "My baby!" She reached for the chain lock. Grief can make monsters look like miracles. She fought me with strength I did not know she had. "Let me open." "That is not Maria." "It is." She came back for me. Outside, both fists slammed the door now. No rhythm, just hunger. The frame splintered. Letters began pushing through the ruined throat outside. "And pa," Denise sobbed. "You hear her." I heard something trying to remember how to speak. I crawled to the fallen side table where the paw had landed. The front chain snapped. One hinge screamed. The door bulged inward. Denise laughed and cried all at once. "Hurry, baby, hurry." I seized the paw. I did not think. I did not choose words carefully. I only begged the universe to undo me. I wish it back. The paw burned in my hand, then turned to ash. The banging stopped instantly. Silence. Deep. Absolute. Denise tore the door open. No porch. No street. No mailbox. No neighbor lights. No rain. Beyond the doorway was a pale, empty road under colorless sky. No houses. No sound. No human life. Just distance. And wind that smelled like open graves. Denise whispered, "Where are we?" I pulled her back. The doorway snapped shut by itself. Where the front door had been was now only wall. Solid plaster. No handle. No frame. No exit. We searched the house. Every window showed the same thing. An empty street with no buildings. No people. No birds. No cars. No stars at night. No sun by day. Just light and dark taking turns over nothing. Phones dead. Internet dead. Water ran black one morning, then never again. Food spoiled too quickly. Then not at all. Time loosened. Some days lasted minutes. Some nights felt a year long. We were alone. Completely. With our grief. Exactly as the dervish intended. At first Denise blamed me. Then herself. Then fate. Then the walls. She talked to Maria constantly. Set plates for 3. Sang lullabies in the hallway. Sometimes she stood at the blank wall where the door used to be and knocked gently. 3 times. Then listened. One night, something knocked back. She smiled for the first time in months. After that, the house changed. Footsteps in empty rooms. Factory alarms ringing faintly through vents. Saw blades whining beneath the floorboards. Maria's laugh from upstairs. Then crying. Then Morrison's voice from the kitchen. Throw it back. I never found him, but I found fresh mud on the stairs. If you're hearing this, then somehow my words escaped where I cannot. I need to confess something. The first wish was not made jokingly. I meant it. I wanted money more than I feared consequence. The second wish was not made out of love. It was made because I could not bear guilt. The third wish was not to save Maria. It was to save myself from seeing what I had done. Every wish was selfish. That is why all 3 were granted perfectly. Tonight, Denise is knocking again. 3 times. Patiently. The wall answers each time now. Knock. 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 Then from inside the plaster comes Maria's voice. Mommy? Denise is crying. She is reaching into the wall as if it has become soft clay. Her fingers are disappearing up to the wrist. She is laughing. She says she can feel Maria's hand. I'm too afraid to stop her. She has gone in up to the shoulder now. The wall moves like water around her arm. Something on the other side is pulling. She tells me to come. She says Maria forgives me. She says there is a door here after all. I hear many hands scratching to come through. I hear Morrison somewhere in the house, screaming prayers. I hear the factory machine starting. And from behind me, 3 slow knocks at a door that no longer exists. If you ever find a shriveled paw, a cursed coin, a holy charm promising shortcuts, burn it. If you lose someone, grieve them. Do not bargain for them. Do not call them back. The dead are heavy. When they return, they do not come alone. Denise is gone now. The wall is smooth again, but I can hear both of them beneath it, knocking, together, 3 times, every night. You think I am mad? That is the first mistake people make. They hear a trembling voice, see restless eyes, notice hands that cannot stay still, and they whisper the word as if it explains everything. Mad is such a lazy word, a blanket thrown over what others do not wish to understand. No, listen to me carefully. I am not mad. A madman cannot observe. A madman cannot remember details. A madman cannot arrange thoughts in order, weigh motives, study timing, anticipate suspicion, and act with precision. I could do all of these things. I know exactly what I did. I know why I did it, and I know why you will never fully believe me. Because the true horror is not that I killed him. The true horror is that I was reasonable when I began. I lived with the old man for 7 years. He was not my father, not my uncle, not my master. We were bound by something more exhausting than blood. Habit. He owned a boarding house where I rented a narrow room at the end of the corridor. H had been him, but not broken him. He shuffled, coughed, muttered prayers at dawn, and counted coins at dusk. He had never wronged me. He had never struck me. He had never cheated me. He had, in fact, been kind. He lowered my rent when I lost work. He brought tea to my room when fever took me. He once said I reminded him of son he had buried. You see, I tell you plainly, I had no cause to hate him, and yet I killed him. It began with a mirror. A foggy mirror hung in the upstairs washroom. Oval, tarnished at the edges, clouded in the center as if breath had dried there long ago and never lifted. When anyone looked into it, their reflection appeared delayed by a fraction of a second. Smile first, then the mirror smiled. Blink first, then the mirror blinked. I noticed this on my second week in the house. I laughed at it then. Old glass warps light. That is science. That is reason. But the old man treated it differently. Each morning, he stood before it and whispered, not to himself, to the reflection. I once heard him say, not today. Then he left the room pale and shaking. He had one eye that disturbed me, clouded, filmy, pale blue beneath a white haze. It was not blind exactly. It moved. It watched, but it looked as if a thin skin covered it. When sunlight struck it, I felt a pressure behind my ribs. When it fixed on me, my throat tightened. Do not misunderstand. I did not fear the old man. I fear being seen by that eye. Not looked at. Seen. As if it knew the thoughts I had not yet admitted to myself. You ask why jealousy? Because he was old, weak, trembling, and yet peaceful. I was young, strong, restless, and tormented. He slept. I paced. He prayed. I argued with silence. He smiled at memories. I choked on them. He had buried a son and still found reason to breathe. I had lost less and lived worse. His calm insulted me. His kindness humiliated me. His eye accused me. And when he stood before that mirror whispering to some secret version of himself, I began to suspect he possessed something denied to me. Understanding. For 8 nights, I watched him sleep. That should convince you of my discipline. Each night at midnight, I opened my door without sound. I moved across the corridor inch by inch. I lifted his latch so slowly that 1 minute passed before the metal cleared the slot. Then I slipped my head inside. The room was dark except for street light leaking through curtains. I held a covered lantern. One narrow beam, just enough to see the bed. He snored softly, his hands folded on his chest like a man rehearsing death. And each night, the hateful eye was closed. So I left him unharmed. It was the eye I hated, not the man. On the 9th night, my thumb slipped. The lantern clicked. His eyes opened at once. Who's there? I froze. You cannot imagine how still a determined man can become. I did not breathe for so long my chest burned. He sat upright in bed, listening. I listened to his terror. It was a delicious sound. Small, dry, contained. I knew it well. I had made it myself many nights. After nearly an hour, I uncovered the lantern by a hair. A thread of light crossed the room and landed on his eye. Open, wide, that pale film shining like wet skin. The rest of him was hidden. Only the eye floated in darkness. Watching me, knowing me, judging me. Then I heard it. His heart. At first faint, then quicker, then pounding. No, not mine, his. I knew the sound. I had heard in walls, in silence, in my own ears at dawn. The sound of fear beating itself raw. I rushed in. He cried once. Only once. I dragged him from bed and threw the mattress over him. He struggled surprisingly hard for such an old body. Knees kicking, hands clawing, then weakening, then trembling, then still. It's still the heartbeat beneath the bedding. Thump, thump, thump. Louder, louder. I pressed harder. Sweat ran into my eyes. My teeth hurt from clenching. The heart grew frantic. Surely neighbors would hear. Surely the whole city would wake. Then, nothing. Silence. I smiled. I lifted the mattress. His mouth hung open. The eye stared upward. Then before me, the lid slowly slid shut. I swear this. Not from nerves. Not from fancy. The dead lid closed as if in relief. Only then did I feel calm. Now comes the clever part. You see, not madness. Method. The boarding house laundry room sat below the stairs. There stood a large-wheeled linen cart canvas-sided, iron-framed, used for collecting soiled sheets and towels. I had noticed weeks earlier that the bottom panel lifted free. I had thought then, not of murder, but of storage. Ideas arrive before their purpose. I carried the body there piece by piece. Do not recoil. Necessity is often untidy. I laid him within the hollow base, replaced the panel, then piled stained linens above. No blood remained anywhere except beneath my nails. I scrubbed those too. By dawn, I was drinking tea. At 7, there came knocking. 3 officers. A neighbor had heard a cry. How cautious society becomes after it is too late. I welcomed them warmly. I smiled. I offered chairs. I explained the old man had gone to visit cousins. I led them room to room. I even brought them, with playful confidence, to the laundry room. Please inspect everything. They did. They laughed at some joke among themselves. They sat. And where did they sit? Upon the linen cart. I placed my own chair above the very body. Was that not nerve? Was that not genius? We spoke casually. Weather, the price of coal, street theft. One officer complimented my composure. Another remarked the room smelled of soap. Then I heard it. A soft beat. Dull. Rapt. Thump. I continued speaking. Thump. Thump. I answered questions faster. The sound grew. Surely they heard. They smiled and chatted on, mocking me, pretending not to hear. Thump. 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 Sweat slid down my neck. I laughed too loudly. I dragged my chair across the floor to drown it. Still louder. Thump. 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 I could bear no more. Villains. I screamed. You know it. You know it. Tear up the cart. They stared. I clawed at the linens, overturning sheets, towels, cloths. The officers seized me as I shouted. There is the beating of his hideous heart. They opened the cart. They found him, and I laughed, because at last someone else would hear it. You think confession ends horror. No, confession only changes rooms. They locked me away. Doctors named conditions. Paranoia, obsessive ideation, disordered attachment, auditory fixation. Again, lazy blankets. At night in the cell, I heard no heart, only relief. Then they installed a mirror above the sink. Fog in the center. Oval. Tarnished edges. The same mirror. I asked where they got it. No one answered. The first morning, I looked into it. My reflection lagged behind. I stepped back. The image remained close. I raised a hand. The image did not. Then slowly it smiled. Not my smile. His. Thin. Patient. One eye pale and clouded. I told the guards. They laughed. I smashed the mirror. They replaced it the next day. Whole. Untouched. Again I saw him. Standing just behind me in the reflection, though the cell wall was solid stone. Sometimes he stood alone. Sometimes beside him was the linen cart. Sometimes the cart rocked gently, as if something inside wished to come out. I understand now what I envied. Not his peace. Not his kindness. Not his age. I envied that he had already made peace with being two people. The one who lived, and the one who watched. He whispered to the mirror because he knew. We are all doubled. One self acts. One self witnesses. Most people silence the witness with noise, routine, appetite. I could not. Mine stared too hard. So I killed the man whose witness looked back at me, and inherited him. Each night he visits. Never in the room. Only in reflective surfaces. Water in a cup. Metal spoon. Window glass. My own pupil when I lean close enough. He says little. Mostly he watches. Sometimes he taps from within the mirror. 3 slow taps. Sometimes the fog clears and I see not my cell, but the old boarding house laundry room. Empty except for the cart. Moving. Last night the cart lid lifted. A hand emerged. Not his. Mine. Paler. Thinner. It gripped the edge and pulled. Then another hand. Then my face rose from among the sheets. Mouth packed with linen. Eyes wild. The old man stood behind that version of me, with one hand on my shoulder like a proud father. When I screamed, the guards came. They found me on the floor, biting my own wrist hard enough to bleed. I asked them who screamed first. They would not answer. Perhaps now you're satisfied. You can say, there, madness at last, hallucination, breakdown, case closed. But tell me this, why does every guard assigned to my corridor request transfer within a week? Why do they avoid the mirror? Why did one whisper to me through the hatch yesterday? How does he know my dead brother's name? And why, when the lights go out, do I hear wheels turning on stone? I do not ask forgiveness. I ask precision. I murdered an old man because his eye unsettled me, because his calm shamed me, because his mirror knew me, because jealousy is often only grief wearing sharper clothes. I hid him beneath the soiled linen cart because dirt is where cowards place truth. I confessed because the heart would not stop. Whether it beat beneath cloth, within memory, or inside my own skull no longer matters. The sound was real because it changed me. That is all reality needs to do. Do you hear that? No, be still. There, a wheel, metal rim, soft over stone, closer now, and something damp being dragged behind it. If you have a mirror near you, do not look immediately. Wait, listen first. If you hear 3 taps from the glass, leave. If your reflection smiles before you do, run. And if an old man with one clouded eye stands behind you holding folded linens, do not turn around, because he will already be where reflections go when they are finished with us.